Have you ever wondered why stuff happens exactly the way that it does? And you don't want an opinion or another belief system, but you want to know exactly why things happen the way they do. I wanted to know the exact same thing. And in this video, if you watch to the end, you know exactly why things happen the way they do, and you'll be able to use it to create whatever reality that you want. Every single one of the laws we're going to cover are important, and they tie together. So if you miss one, you miss everything, and you won't be able to really understand the fullness of why things happen exactly the way they do. I used these laws to create a $250,000 in business, take home business, when I was 22 years old. I use this to manifest and create a relationship that most people don't have. I'm happy. 80% of the time, we barely ever argue, and we're happy most of the time. Our sex is incredible. I'm talking about incredible. It's mind-blowing. So that's what I use. I use these principles to do that. I've also had used the same exact principles to enter into altered states of consciousness, bliss, attain to the secrets of the universe. I've done it to heal my body. We've helped people cure cancer with this. We've helped people restore eyesight with this. We've helped people to buy houses with no credit with this. We've done this with people. This has actually worked on real people, and it's working on you right now. It's called the 7 Hermetic Principles, and I'm gonna give you a secret 8th principle that nobody talks about and you can't find in any videos on YouTube right now. It's something they will never tell you. If you look up Hermetic Principles, you'll find 7, but you will never find the 8th one because it's hidden, and the elite class, secret societies, kept it hidden because it's the most important law. So stay to the end to watch to find it out. Now, number 1, the first law or the first principle on this operating system called the universe is called mentalism. What mentalism is, it states all is mind. All is mind. Now, I'm going to show you the extremes and to the extent that this is true and the extent that all is mind goes. What this means is every single thing you can think, feel, interact with, speak about, or be is the mind. Everything, not some things, everything. The sun shining on my skin is mind. The grass in the background and the trees in the background, mind. The sky right now, mind. All is mind. Every single thing you see is made of consciousness or mind. This has been proven. If you look at quantum mechanics, which a lot of people don't like, but it is a science and it's the most accurate science. Quantum mechanics suggests that everything is influenced by our thinking and observation. When we observe, we physically collapse the reality we expect to be there, or that's most likely to be there from our expectations. In short, our observation, our consciousness creates. Our observing creates whatever it is we're looking for. When scientists go look for smaller particles, since everything is made of mind, they look for a smaller particle, and the act of them looking for a smaller particle, the smaller particle appears there for them to look at. This is the laws, this is scientific truth that ties into and shows you how the principle of mentalism is absolutely true. That is what it means to say all is mind. So how does this work in our life? Okay, every single human being that you come in contact with is made of your specific consciousness. I am not what you think I am. I am what you've created in your mind. Here, and this is how you know. However you feel while listening to this is what I am to you. Your feeling has created me. Your feeling has created this video for you. Your feeling has created this experience for you. Your feeling has. Every single person, individual person that's watching this video is an individual. with their own specific portion or use of the mind. We all use one mind to create, but we channel it through our specific thought process. This is the reason why people who think negatively receive that, because all is mind. Their entire world to them is negative. This is why a person who is habitually happy, everything in their world is made of happiness, because that's what the nature of their thought is. So they create everyone and everything in their world that's happy or leads to more happiness. This is the law called all is mind. Okay? That's the first law. Second law that we'll go over is the law of vibration. What this says is everything, not some things, are vibrating at a frequency, constantly moving, constantly changing, going either toward or away from something. This is what the law of vibration says. Everything is moving, everything is vibrating at a frequency, moving toward or away from something at all times. It's not some things, everything. You might say, well, a building doesn't move. I know the building with our physical eyes doesn't look like the building moves. But if you put that building under a microscope, it's vibrating with molecules of whatever it's made of, brick, wood, whatever it may be. It's vibrating currently. And the particles in the wood, the particles in the brick are moving toward or away from each other, and sometimes around each other. But it's moving is what's happening. Everything is in vibration. So what's the significance of this? Understanding vibration, you'll also understand how like attracts like. Vibration and frequency work this way. Every time you have a frequency present, everything that vibrates to that frequency comes toward that frequency and merges with it like droplets of water. Have you ever seen how the small droplet of water, you put it close to the bigger droplet of water and then it just becomes a bigger one automatically? That is exactly how frequencies work. So everything is frequency. And you might say, well, I come in contact with things and I don't necessarily penetrate them. That's true. The physical body may not penetrate, but what does penetrate is the vibrational frequency it's made of. So think of a neighborhood. A neighborhood has people with about the same mindset in that neighborhood. If you go to a very wealthy neighborhood and you go to, I've knocked doors, for instance. I would go to neighborhoods and everybody in that neighborhood had a similar vibration to them. Wasn't exactly the same, but it was a consistency that went through every single kind of person in that neighborhood pretty much. This is the law of vibration. Vibrating, they vibrate together. That's the law of vibration. Okay? If you go to a party, whatever kind of party it is, if it's a kid's party, kids are going to be there. If it's an adult party, adults are going to be there. If it's a 40 and over party, you'll see 40 and over people be there. Why do people coagulate in areas? Why do they collect them in one area? Why are you around the people you're around? It's because of the way you vibrate. Every single thing that comes into your life is because of vibration, the vibration that you emit. And we'll get into other videos how the brain sends out frequencies. Okay, the video got cut. My apologies. The vibration goes through everything, through solid matter, through brick walls, through steel, through everything. It penetrates everything. Your brain vibrates at frequencies and sends off frequencies and penetrates everything, and everything moves toward each other because of this magnetism. That's the law of vibration, okay? So everything vibrates. You know this is true because if you put anything under a microscope, it's moving. That's how you know, okay? The third law that we're gonna cover is the law of correspondence or correspondence. This is what correspondence is. It is everything that is happening on multiple levels at once. It's happening on a spiritual level. It's happening on a mental level. It's happening on a feeling level. And it's happening on a physical level. But they're happening simultaneously. Everything's happening at once. Everything on every level responds to itself on every level. So let me give you an example. For you, this might sound abstract, but follow along. You are whoever you are, physically. But what is this physical body reflecting? It's reflecting the feelings that you have. These feelings are reflective of the thoughts you habitually think. And these thoughts you habitually think come from one source, which is your spirit or essence. And they're all corresponding to each other. So that means you can't have a physical outcome that is not exactly like your mental outcomes or your feelings and thoughts. Your physical actions are in harmony with your thoughts and habitual thoughts and feelings. So you can't have a physical action unless there's first a thought and a feeling. The action is not first. The thought is always first, just to give you an example. Okay? You have to think about clicking this video, or the thought has to go through and enter your subconscious mind in order for you even to click on the video. The thumbnail, the picture you saw on the video first, or the notification, and the words you saw triggered something in your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind made you physically click the video and watch it. So your physical actions correspond with the subconscious thought. This is the law of correspondence. Also, the law of correspondence is this. So that's within, as within, so without. As above, so below. Okay, what does that mean? If I start thinking something here at my level as a human being, as an individual human being, if I start thinking something right from here, there's a universal mind as well that I am not, supposedly. But by law of correspondence, if I'm thinking this right now, I'm forcing the universal thought to think the exact same way as it relates to me. So the universe starts to think like I do. And then the universe starts to give me what I'm thinking. It gives me a corresponding reality to come to me that's according to my thoughts. As within, as I am, so is the universe. This is the law of correspondence. Now, is this true? Test it out yourself. This can bridge gaps that you just can't bridge with science. Science ends where you can't look at physical stuff. Science studies effects. They do not study causes. So from here on, these are effects. What has happened? That you can study by studying physical stuff. Well, what happens? What is the cause of these physical actions? There's always a cause to an effect. So what's the cause? It's invisible. You can't see it. You can't measure it. And I'm not even talking about vibrations or frequencies at this point, because it's immeasurable. It's an infinite frequency that cannot be measured. An infinite frequency is not a frequency at all. It's invisibility. It's beingness. It's solid. It's throughout. Its existence itself is infinite vibration. There is no way to penetrate it. That is the cause of every effect. You can't study that because there's nothing to study. It's who you are. So therefore, it's very difficult for people to wrap their mind around the fact that science, it can't explore the invisible. And when I say invisible, I mean, you can't even see it with the microscope. Understand that. We're not talking about something you can see with a microscope, because that's visible, because you're using your eyes and you can see it. Even with an instrument, you can see it. We're not talking about anything that can be seen with any instrument created right now or even in the future. We're talking about what's before, antecedents, or before any physical phenomena. What started the particles to moving? What started the vibration? What started it? That is beingness or spirit. That's a corresponding reality that shows the external effects. The reason we have nature and the external world the way we do is because of a fundamental reality antecedent to all physical. Because in order for there to be an effect, which is the whole universe, it's moving, it had to come from a source of non-movement or perfect vibration or infinite frequency. This is the law of correspondence. You can find out and connect dots that scientists are going to take a very long time to connect by yourself and use it practically by understanding the law of correspondence. You'll understand, okay, the way that the world works is it works through my mind, but it's corresponding levels to my mind. If I think and feel this on a regular, consistent basis, the universe will be thinking that. Is that true? Yes. If the universe is thinking it, I must be at some level thinking it too. The universe only works by law. So I can understand these laws because there's a corresponding reality of the law above as it is below. Okay, here's another one, and then I'm gonna move on to the next one. We live in a universe. This universe acts like an organism, like a physical body. Well, our bodies mimic the way that the cosmos work because the cosmos works exactly like our body, and our body works exactly like the cosmos. I'm gonna give you an example. When a man or a sperm and a woman or an egg come together, they create baby. The only way to create a baby is masculine principle, feminine principle come together, baby is made. It's the only way. There is no other way for it to happen. The masculine and feminine need each other to create. Okay, that's true. So that's true on this level. On a higher octave, on a higher level, when it comes to thought, if you say an idea, somebody has to be receptive to the idea for there to be a transaction or an action or something. If I speak these words, but the words are not received by you, processed, you won't do anything with the information. But if you are receptive and the ideas come into your subconscious mind, you'll start to act on these ideas. And that means that there was a creation from this. So on a higher level, on a thought level, it's the same as on a physical level. Masculine principle, sperm, feminine principle, egg come together, create baby. Masculine principle, thought, feminine principle, receptive subconscious mind come together, it creates action. That's the law of correspondence, okay? So that's the third law. Fourth law is the law of cause and effect, which we've been going over gradually as we come through this. There is a cause to every effect. The cause is always antecedent to the effect or before the effect in sequence and in structure. What do we mean by that? What we mean by this is if you see a house that's built, don't you know that somebody thought about that house and put it on a blueprint first? We know that that's true. If you see these trees, though, you say, well, nobody created the trees. That's true. No individual mind created the trees, but the cosmic mind created the trees. And it had to be an image before it was a physical image. There's no way for it to be, to have an image in a form without there being a mental and invisible form that is exactly like the tree. There's no way that happens, okay? So that's the reason why cause and effect is a thing. If you look at it, you know that this is a picture. If you can picture it in your mind with your eyes closed, then it's a mental thing too. If it wasn't a mental thing, you couldn't close your eyes and see it. You said, well, I saw it already. That's the reason I can see it. It doesn't matter if you saw it already or not. If it wasn't mental, you couldn't think it because mind is only thinking. Okay, so thoughts create reality, whether they're universal or they're individual. It's the same mind with the same power. The only difference is one is personalized and one is not. That's the only difference. Okay, so that is the law of cause and effect. Every single effect has a cause. So if you are overweight, there is a cause for that. If you are perfect weight, perfect body mass for you, it is a cause to that. If you are rich, there is a cause to that. If you are poor, there is a cause to that. If you are happy in a relationship, there is a cause to that. If you are upset in a relationship, there is a cause to that. And the cause is, go back to law number 1, it's all mental. So realize that it is all mental, above and beyond anything else. That's that, okay? So every effect, everything you see, yourself included, every action you take has an original cause to it. That is the law of cause and effect. I think Ralph Waldo Emerson said that is the law of all laws. But remember what we said in the beginning, all these laws tie together. if these laws didn't tie together, there would be absolutely no way for you, okay? There would be absolutely no way for you to understand anything if you didn't understand all of these things. They all tie together. You can't have one without the other. Okay, the next law is called the law of polarity. Here's what the law of polarities is. There are always equal opposites. So there's a magnetic negative pole and a magnetic positive pole. There's always two poles, always 100% of the time. So if I'm looking at something on this external world and I'm seeing it, it has a negative pole that is its correlate. It's like the law of correspondence. But polarity says that there's a negative and a positive in the thing itself. For instance, you have electrons. That's a negative charge and a positive charge together. That is polarity. There are poles to that one electron. It also says that everything that is true is also false at a level. To give an example, is it true that the world is going down? Okay, is that true? Well, according to the person, the individual, it may be going down. But existentially, it's always increasing and going up. So it depends on from what level you look at. But polarity always suggests that there is an opposite to everything. There's a polarity, there's a pole. So what that also means is if I'm poor and I can make one more dollar, that means I can make thousands of more dollars than what I do. It's all on one pole. Does that make sense? If I can make $1, I can make 1,000. If I can make 1,000, I can make 1,000,000. It's all on one line. So polarity says that the opposite also exists. If I can be lonely, polarity says I can also have companionship. Thank you for that. If I'm broke right now, polarity says I'm also rich right now at some level. There's no way to have broke without rich, so I must be both. This is the law of polarity. What the law of polarity does is probably my favorite law. It gives you hope. It lets you understand that you can and are whatever you want to be. If you want to change your life, all you're saying is, I want to go from this end of the pole of what I'm experiencing to that end. Whether it's with money, love, or it's health, or even spirituality, your spirit. You want to go from here to here. The polarity shows you that both are true right now. Whichever one you anchor yourself in your mind is the way you go. So cause of move in this direction is you anchor yourself over here mentally, you'll start to move along the poles. It's infinite poles. Okay, that's polarity. Polarity is one of the greatest laws of the universe because it gives you hope. If you are in a circumstance right now where you feel like you can't get out of it, then there must be an equivalent circumstance of absolute freedom that exists because you can't have that without this. On a very basic level, you can't know what day is unless you know what night is. Polarity. If there's a day, there's also a night. And if you're in the middle of midnight, there's also day. It has to be. There's no way that you could just be, it can only be night. There's day available. Meaning, if there's negative, there's good because you can't have negative without the good. This is the best law you will ever learn, most likely. Okay. The next law is the law of rhythm. What it says is if there is a day and there's a night, there's also a rhythm between them. Sometimes it's day and it always swings back to night and it always comes back to day and it always swings back to night and it always comes back to day and it always swings back to night and it always swings back to day. That's what that means. It always does this, not sometimes. It always does this. Swings from day to night, from day to night, or yes to no, or yes to no. It always does this. This is the law of rhythm. The pendulum swings out and then it swings back in. So this is how you see the law of rhythm. Law of rhythm. Okay, what comes after winter? Spring. What comes after spring? Summer. What comes after summer? Winter. What comes after winter? Spring. It's a circle. That's the law of rhythm. It just says everything has a life cycle. It swings from one side to another. Now, you can remove yourself higher and higher. You can create an octave. So you can be on a circle down here at a low level of existence, and then you can move up to higher and then up to higher. But it is always a circle no matter how high you go. But it is a circle or a cycle. That's the law of rhythm. Okay. One of the last laws, the law of gender, is next. This is one of the last laws. So the law of gender, what does it say? The law of gender is not about what you identify as. The law of gender is positive and negative are necessary to create anything. Masculine principle, feminine principle required to make baby. Nothing is created by the same gender. Nothing is created by a man and a man, or a masculine and masculine. Nothing is created by feminine and feminine. Everything is created by a mix of masculine and feminine. It's the only way to create. In principle, not in theory, but in principle, there's always a positive, negative. What does that mean? It means there's a sperm and an egg of every situation. So cause and effect. The cause of every effect is there's a positive and negative that have come together, and that's what creates the effect. Has to be. There's no other way. It's always that way. Because look around you and look in nature and look at anything. You don't see anything that doesn't have a masculine and feminine principle within it. Even if it's an acorn, the acorn gets planted in Mother Earth. And guess what? The energy from everywhere required for that acorn to grow moves toward the acorn, enters the acorn. So the acorn, masculine, earth, feminine, creates an oak tree and growth of an oak tree. You can't have an oak tree without positive and negative. You always have an environment and a seed in that environment. You can't have one without the other if you have creating the creation of something. So that is a law of gender. Now, like I promised, we're about to go over the secret law. The secret law is the 8th Hermetic principle. It is called the law of gestation. No one ever talks about the law of gestation because A, they do not know it. You have to be a nerd, essentially, and dig to the secrets that are kept by the Vatican, elite classes, and people like that to know this law, because it's hidden, quite frankly. There's only one person I know who even mentions it. So, and his name is Mark Passio. Now, I don't subscribe to every word, everything he says, but he was a part of a society that he left because it was evil, but they taught principles of the universe, and they make everybody else believe in whatever they believe in. So these people were controlling the world based on laws, and they made everybody else just say, hey, you can believe whatever you want, but they want you to believe in things that aren't true so that you can't affect the physical universe, because the universe works by law. It doesn't work by guessing. Okay. So the law of gestation, what is it? It says nothing happens until there is enough care. Care. In order for anything to start, there has to be enough care. So another way to say it, if you're not taking action on an issue, or anyone is not taking action on an issue, you don't care enough. Not to say you don't care. At this moment, you don't care enough. There's a threshold. Once care crosses that threshold, that principal threshold, action is taken, because care is there. The reason that we have the issues we have in our world is because the world does not care. The reason the masses are enslaved either mentally or physically is because they don't care to be free. And this is not all their fault. The people who control the universe, or not the universe, but at least this world and the economies and the resources on this world, what they want is for you to be docile, weak, feeble, so that you can't care enough. They give you drugs, they give you bad food, they give you everything to look at other than yourself, so that you don't have the energy or the mental capacity to care enough to do anything. So they keep you at a very low vibration so that you can't reach the level of care required to change things. So we may complain about it, we look at it, we don't want it, we don't like it. but it doesn't matter enough to us to take action on it. The law of care is the secret law that controls everything. Why doesn't my husband love on me anymore? Because he doesn't care enough. He used to care, but at this moment right now, he doesn't. For whatever reason, he doesn't care enough to do it. Now, can the care level go up and down? Absolutely. This is what salesmen are masters at, is getting a level of care to get to the level where they take action on it. That's the key to all sales, is you have to get people to care enough to take the action. If they care enough, they'll take action, they'll do it. This is why some people get sales from people who walk up to them and say, hey, I want this. This is what I'm doing. I know that I'm doing this. I just need somebody to install it. I need somebody to do it for me. You go, okay, I'll take the order. Because they already care enough. They're taking action and they're making you do it because the law of care is activated. But before that, they may want it, but they don't care enough to make it happen. This is the law of care. I'm gonna dedicate a whole video just to the law of care, but you just heard the 7 Hermetic principles and the 8th secret one. By studying these principles, it's a book called The Kabbalion. By studying these principles, it will change your life because you'll never guess again at why something is happening the way that it's happening. First thing you can ask is, why is this happening? You can go, because someone cares. Who cares enough? And then you can look in the organization to find out who actually cares in this organization to make it happen. You'll find a person because they're the most focused, they're the most intentional, they're the most intense, they're the most vibrationally attuned, they're the most something and everything really. You can see them. Not the loudest, but if you talk to them, they have the most focus, most intensity, most intention, most clarity, most understanding, most time spent, most hours in, most everything. They care. That's the one. You can see it. There is always, and I repeat, always a single individual who cares enough. They started the organization. They started the group to come together. They started the collaboration. There's always a person who cares. So I'm Josh Livingston. Thank you for subscribing. If you didn't subscribe, please hit the subscribe button right now. Leave a comment. I love you. If you leave a comment to help the algorithm, I want everybody to have the best day of their lives. Peace.